Good morning, Kahal Kadosh. Shavua Tov Mevorach to everyone. It's good to be back after a marathonic trip to Eretz Israel. Today, Sunday, the 11th day of Nisan, corresponding to the second day of November. Today, of April. Thank you. I'm still jet lagging. We see a delicious breakfast there, sponsored by Mr. Isaac Halwani. Le'ilui Nishmat, his beloved father, Clemente Menachem Ben Leah, Alav Shalom. Additionally, today's class, graciously sponsored by Mr. Elias Kababie, Le'ilui Nishmat, Ishak Kababie Ben Victoria. Iratzon to the words of Torah, the Neshamot have an Aliyah in Gan Eden. Amen. This is the last meal of Hametz in the synagogue. So enjoy the Hametz today. Okay, today we'll let you take home. Please, take Hametz with you. Don't keep it in the synagogue. And Be'ezat Hashem, as soon as the class is finished, we have the full crew coming in today to work non-stop under the rabbi's supervision for the next 3 days, with a break in between, obviously. But I must say that they did a couple of things during my absence, and Baruch Hashem, so far we are heading in the right direction. So as I said, it's good to be back. Thank you. And I didn't plan the wedding date. Nobody asked me. I did say maybe do it before Pesach. I said we're doing it before Pesach. I said no, but earlier, Monday, Tuesday, so I can come back in the middle of the wedding, 9:45. I said to my mother, my sister, my nephews, everyone, I must leave. And Baruch Hashem, I made it here before Shabbat at a normal halachic time. That means before Hasod. And I like to say this because I already heard that some people are planning to leave Wednesday morning for Pesach. If you want to know my humble opinion, to leave wherever they're going to go. If you want to leave, my humble opinion is do not leave that late for many reasons. First of all, you're not going to be able to burn the Hametz, which we already learned yesterday, that there's a chut and the opportunity that comes our way once a year to be able to burn the Hametz, not only the physical Hametz, but the emotional Hametz and any kind of spiritual Hametz or hiccup that a person has in life. Not only that, you need to plan now for flight delays and cancellation. I mentioned before I started the recording, my plane was diverted to Philadelphia when I supposed to land in Newark. Not a big deal, but when you're circling and a 2.5-hour flight took 7 hours, then you're worried. Yesterday I heard somebody got stuck at the airport 8 hours. Today some of my kids planning to come, the flight was canceled. Asked me why. Nobody knows the reason. Now, I don't know the airlines. Now they are struggling and finding ways of how to arrive to Florida, and this is Sunday, not Wednesday morning.
And Wednesday
night is a holiday, so I respectfully ask those who need to travel. The earlier you get here before Pesach, the better it is. And for those traveling out of town, don't leave on Wednesday morning. Leave Monday, leave Tuesday, so you can plan for a delay. And I know some of you may be leaving, but thousands more will be coming, Be'ezat Hashem, to spend the holiday with us. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam She'akol Nihiyah V'Baruch. Amen. So just to give a summary, the land of Israel is doing well, despite the political hiccups. Thank God, the driver tells me, Rabbi, you're so lucky. You came 3 hours after the protest ended. Otherwise, I would have told you stay at the airport for 6 hours, and then I pick you up when the roadways are open. I really don't understand what's flying there, but this is part of the action in Israel. But you see people getting ready for Pesach, thousands of people literally on the street. I probably was one of the 2-3 people in Jerusalem walking around empty-handed and not going into supermarkets or Matsah bakeries. I went for a mission, I fulfill, and I'm happy to be back. So I'd like to share with the Kahal some of the beautiful things that we learned yesterday afternoon in the Derasha of Shabbat HaGadol. So I need to catch up because I never in my history I remember not being for a few days before Pesach here at the synagogue. And I'm thankful that they came back for Shabbat HaGadol, and Be'ezat Hashem, unless Mashiach comes, I don't have any trip plans anywhere. Mashiach comes, we're all going to go to Yerushalayim, Eid HaKodesh. But I'd like to share a mixed message, a few messages between the halacha, the segula, the Kabbalah, the tradition, and the halachic requirement. So Shabbat HaGadol is behind us. I believe that the majority of Am Israel, effective last night, which I also did at home, now we move our home into Pesach mode. Correct? You gotta kasherize whatever you need to kasherize. You need to replace the dishes. You need to start putting away the hametz. If you have any, you gotta bring out all the kasher lePesach friendly item. Go to the supermarket and do all the purchases that you need to do. If there is one investment that a person needs to make for Pesach, besides the meals of Pesach and the silverware and the dishes, etc., is about the Matsah. The Matsah, but the Matsah Shemura. Sometimes you go to the supermarket nowadays, you get dizzy. Do you know which Matzah to buy? So I'm going to give you the basic guidelines of which Matzah to buy, at least for the Seder of Pesach. And I will tell you the benefit of doing what I'm suggesting, which is not my suggestion, is halakha clearly, the importance of eating Matzah Shemura, at least for the Seder of Pesach. Some of us, including our synagogue, the only Matzah that is offered to the synagogue is Matzah Shemura. Why? Because that is the ideal Matzah to consume during Pesach. And we're going to give you options, machine or handmade. But for the Seder of Pesach, says Hacham Batya, Alav Shalom, and many other Gedolim, the ideal Matzah for the Seder is Matzah Shemura Avodat Yad. Even though you go to a program and you spend a couple of elections, how they say, you're going to spend some money to go to the program, make sure that you have available Matzah Shemura by hand for the Seder. If they don't give you Matzah Shemura, you may be overpaying for your program. Okay? Because Matzah Shemura should be provided. But if for some reason they say we only bring machine, invest in a pound or two, bring it with you in the carry-on. Don't ship it through the luggage unless you want to have matzah meal. If you want to have matzah meal, ship the matzah through the belt, through the luggage. But if you want to have Matzah Shemura, carry it with you in your hands. And today, you go to the supermarkets all over. I was in Brooklyn the other day, just between the flight to Kennedy and Israel in Brooklyn. I went to pay a visit to the Saka family, the Sultan family, and my daughter says, let's buy something for the flight. I needed to go from the house to the airport. I said, okay, let's go to supermarket. I'm not sure if I should say the name or not. It was a nice supermarket, okay? That's it. Nice. They didn't pay for the advertisement, okay? And I went to look at the matzah section. I thought that we in South Florida has 10, 12 options of Matzah Shemura. In Brooklyn, I stopped counting when I reached 20 options. And all kosher, all by hand, all prices, organic, spelt, oats, wheat, whole wheat, Israeli, American, Ukrainian, Hasidic. I didn't see nothing made in Mexico. Okay, maybe in Mexico they have a Matzah bakery. Maybe, it's possible. But it's unbelievable the availability that we have. So the halakha writes, the Seder of Pesach by itself is a mitzvah from the Torah. V'higata lebincha bayom ahu lemor, the Haggadah that we read in the night of Pesach is part of our daily prayers. In Kadesh li kol bechor, you say this 6 days a week between Sunday and Friday. In Kadesh li kol bechor, which is one of the two of the four perashiyot which are in the tefillin, the pasuk says, "Ve'aya ki shalecha bincha lemor." Mazot be'amarta ela be'chotzik yad. That's the mitzvah of ve'igata lebincha, the pasuk from the Torah. By the way, We learned yesterday in the derashot of Shabbat Gadol, and I saw this in writing, that in the night of Pesach, a person fulfills 64 mitzvot, some from the Torah and some from the Chachamim. What are the mitzvot of the Torah? I'll tell you two only. The Haggadah itself, the Seder, and eating Matsah. And I'm going to say this publicly, that eating Matzah is the only mitzvah from the Torah applicable in our days connected to eating. We don't have korbanot to eat. We don't have terumot and maaserot from Israel to eat. We don't have the omer to eat. We don't have none of the above. But what do we still have? Matzah. And therefore, says the halacha, since Matzah is a mitzvah ta'aseh mideoraita, you gotta go to the extreme of availability. That's the rule. Safek deoraita lechumra, safek de rabbanan lekula. Translation: when you have a doubt on a biblical commandment, you gotta go for the best. When you have a doubt in the rabbinical commandment, you can be lenient. So therefore, says the halacha, since the eating matzah is the oraita, and you have access, it's not like you don't have access. You have access. So therefore, invest in the matzah. What is the benefit of eating the proper matzah during Pesach? I mentioned this in Sauda Shelishit, that he brings it down from the Yafeh Lalev, and it says, the person, through eating the proper matzah in Pesach, spares themselves from suffering throughout the year. It's an unbelievable deal. It's an unbelievable deal. Now, where do you learn? Says the Yafeh Lalev, that eating Matzah Shemura during Pesach, and especially for the Seder, that you protect yourself from suffering, is a pasuk in the book of Tehillim. David HaMelech says in the book of Tehillim, listen to the words, Ki mikol Sara hisilani, ubaybai ra'ata ani. From all my suffering, my hardship, you saved me, says King David, and my eyes saw my enemies. What does it mean, says the Yafeh Lalev? Mikol Sara hitzilani, Rashi Tevot Matzah. Mikol Mem, Sara, suffering, Tzadik, He, hitzilani, Rashi Tevot Matzah. Rashi Tevot Matzah. Unbelievable. Who want to be saved from execution? Okay, I think many of us want to be saved from execution. Now, there is something that you do in the night of Pesach that is a spiritual benefit to protect your life. We all need protection. Afikoman is coming later, time allowing. I still got to speak about two Tzadikim of today, the Yortzeit of the Ramban Nachmanides and the Shalah HaKadosh. In a few minutes, I'm going to speak about these two great giants, because you know them well. Now, so it says also, I'm going to discuss briefly one halakha about Kippur. In Erev Kippur, we do kaparot. Many people do kaparot with money, but many do with chicken. Why people do kaparot with chicken? I personally do both, because I have a lot of avirot, and I like to take care of it. I'm the rabbi of the community, so I do carry a lot of liabilities and responsibilities on my shoulders. So I do both. But why do I do the chicken? It's easier for me to do money. Ze kaparati, ze alifati, ze temurati, whatever. But I do it both. Why? The Lacha writes that when you do kaparot with chicken, in the event that a person, God forbid, may have committed any transgression throughout the year, that if the Sanhedrin would exist today that person will have been liable for execution, by doing the shechita to the chicken in honor of the kaparot, it is like I'm atoning for those sins. Now, where do you see Arba'a mitot bet din? Where do you see the 4 capital punishments in kaparot with chicken? So we'll start. Sekila, serefa, herek, behenek. Sekila means stoning. When you do shechita to the chicken, what do? You drop the chicken into the cone, so the blood comes down, and then you cover the blood and you say a beracha. That action of dropping the chicken into the cone is called sekila. Serefa, when you do shechita with chicken, you gotta look. Erev Kippur. But it's connected to Pesach. It's coming the connection in a minute. Then you have serefa. After you do everything, what do? You burn the feathers to remove them from the animal before you do kashering. So that's called serefa, burning. Hereg, when the shohet takes the knife and slaughters through the neck of the bird, that's called slaughtering. And then you have henek, choking. What do? When the shohet grabs, let's say that this is the neck, and then what does he do? He secures the skin from the back, so the kanean veshet, the esophagus and the trachea are right at the edge of the skin, and then slaughters it. That action is called henek. So by doing these 4 actions, sekila, serefa, herek, behenek, if God forbid, if a person was liable to experience this through the lifetime, this atones for it. This is Yom Kippur. What has to do with Pesach? Says the Yafel Alev, when the person drinks the 4 cups of wine, each cup of wine represents sekila, serefa, herek, behenek. So when you drink the 4 cups of wine, don't say, I took a sip. Many times people do this. I said Shakol before, you didn't do nothing. You didn't fulfill the mitzvah of the night of Pesach. Obviously, if you cannot tolerate wine, you can do grape juice. And in some cases, you can dilute the wine a bit. But you need to be a hacham in advance. Shlomo HaMelech says, Hacham einav berosho. The wise man has his eyes on the head. Where will you have your eyes? Don't answer that question. I know what you want to say. Don't answer it. So you know what you need to do in advance? I already did it. You need to get the smallest available cup for Pesach. This cup, if I understood correctly, it has 8 ounces. This is double the amount that you need. But then you have a halachic problem if you can make kiddush in a cup that is not full. So you need to go to a Judaica store or go online and buy 3.5 ounces to be safe. 3.5 is the safest amount of wine to make the kiddush on, or to drink the 4 cups of wine. Once you are careful with that, the other day, somebody gifted me a silver kiddush cup. How did you know? 17 ounces.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
Pure silver.
17 stone.
Pure silver. Okay? I did something to the person. Unexpectedly, he gifted this to me. Beautiful, very nice gesture. Right? No, I went to the store and I said, this cup is too big for me. I can't drink. Because you have to understand, in the laws of drinking wine for Kiddush, one opinion says you have to drink the majority of the cup.
Yeah.
So if this cup has 16 or 17 ounces,
Eight.
so how much you have to drink? 9 ounces. Multiply that times 4. That's 36. You know what I'm going to do with the 36 ounces?
We'll make it.
I'm going to come Shabbat Chol HaMoed. So I went to the store. I called them up. I explained to them the situation. I said, we understand that. And somebody told me, I think we told him.
Really?
Yeah, that is too big. Maybe it's kosher Eliyahu Navi, he thought. Maybe that was the intention of the gift for Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu Navi can drink, he doesn't mind. Okay? I went, I got it something beautiful, same value, same value, but obviously in a much more reduced scale. But I still wasn't happy because it was 8 ounces. So what did I do? I bought a plastic insert. Nowadays, Kiddush cups, me too. You have plastic inserts. It has 4 ounces. I'm happy. I'm using the beautiful silver cup, and I'm using the insert. And why do I say silver cup? The Kaf HaHaim HaKadosh writes, and it says that silver is, how do you say silver in Hebrew? Kesef. So it says here that the word kos is numerical value 86. The same name as Elohim, 86. That is the attribute of judgment. But if you use silver, the attribute becomes mitigated. So from judgment, it becomes kindness. You follow me? Yeah. So even on something so basic, our holy rabbis are giving us tips of how to make a meaningful Seder of Pesach. Somebody came to me earlier today when I came in, and he says, Rabbi, I need a blessing. I said, what do you need a blessing for? You know, for customer service, press 1. For complaints, press 2. You know, for suggestion, press 3. He said, what do you need for? He says, I'm doing a project, and I'm getting stuck with the government with certain matters of plumbing, sewer, water, electricity, I said, okay. I saw in one Haggadah that says, in the night of Pesach, in the middle of the Seder, after Birkat HaMazon, what do? We drink the 3rd cup of wine, and then many have the custom of opening up the door. Have you heard of this custom? And people sing Eliyahu Navi. At that moment, Eliyahu Navi comes, etc. So you know what it's written in the holy books? That when you open that door, HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens every door in your life that happens to be locked. So at that moment, when you open the door, have this kavanah. Hashem, remove all the barriers and all the darkness that is affecting my life. Which yesterday in the Rosh Shabbat HaGadol, I mentioned a new segula that is not new for me because I heard it a year or two ago, but I did more additional research, and I heard from many great Hachamim from Eretz Israel. And they say the following: this Wednesday morning, when we're going to be burning the Hametz, also many of us have been keeping the Lulav and the Hoshanot from Sukkot. So we're going to burn it. Also some of us have been keeping the burn petilim from Hanukkah. So we're going to burn it. But you know what else they say to do? Write in a piece of paper, small piece of paper, the problems that are affecting your life. And then burn it together with your Hametz. It's an easy segula to do. What issues do you have? Shidduchim, write shidduch. What Sa'ar Gidul Banim, challenging with children, write it. Parnasa, write it. Shalom Bayit, write it. Medical issues, write it. Whatever you find hiccups in your life, write it, and then you burn it together. Why? Somebody asked me this 11 o'clock at night last night. Somebody who was in the class and asked me, Rabbi, why do you do that? So I explained that the burning of the Hametz, the way the prayer says in the Yehida song that we're going to say, and if you don't have it in English, look in the guide of the Edmond J. Safra Synagogue, the beautiful guide, you have it. Page 6 and 7 is all about the burning of the Hametz, besides the rice, etc. And then you say the special Yehida song. And in the Yehida song says, the same way that I'm burning the Hametz, burn the Yetzer Hara from my heart. What is the Yetzer Hara in a nutshell? The Yetzer Hara is the roadblock that blocks our life, that prevents us of serving God with happiness, with joy. Whenever we want to do something good, suddenly something negative or a roadblock or a hardship comes across our way. So in a way, when I'm burning the Hametz, I am burning everything negative. But if you want to go the extra mile, I already have a list to write before Wednesday. Sure, you don't need to have a Megillah. Okay, in my case, I may have a Megillah. But people don't need a Megillah. Just take a small piece of paper, write words that only you will know. Nobody needs to know of this. Obviously, this is a public forum, but you don't have to share with people. Look what I wrote, look what I wrote, look what I wrote. Nobody needs to know. This is your business between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And why do we use fire? Because fire, listen to this, starts red. Fire is usually red, right? But what is the end color? White. The ashes. So that means they're pulverizing all your problems. You pulverize your enemies. You pulverize your headaches. What's the meaning pulverize? Which is going to happen when Mashiach comes, by the way. There's going to be a procedure called pulverizing. I can't talk about it at this moment. Let Mashiach talk about it when he comes. I give him the honor. But there is such a thing. Literally. So when we burn the Hamas, get rid of all your hedges, all your headaches. Obviously, things which are negative. Don't get rid of people. Get rid of people, negative aspects. Pray for them. That you can do. Now, so we spoke about the opening of the doors. We also spoke about removal of headaches. We spoke about, we're going to say one more. Two more, and then we're going to talk about the great two Hachamim of today. I'm in a bit of adrenaline because I didn't speak all week long through iTorah.com, but I gave speeches in a tailor shop, in a men's store, and in a supermarket, and in a hardware in Israel. Yes. I don't know, people recognize me. Oh, Rabbi. Then I'm going to tell the story that I said yesterday in the Derashah. I'm in a hardware store. Okay. Me, nice guy, my wife, tells me what to get. And then a guy is asking the guy from the hardware store, he says, you Sephardic people have very easy Pesach. And the guy from the hardware store says, yes, Baruch Hashem, Sephardic people have leniencies that our Ashkenazi brethren don't have it. But me, I can't stay quiet. And he said, by the way, did they tell you that Sephardic people do 40 days Selihot instead of 4? So if you want to become Sephardic, I told him, you got to do 40 days Selihot. He says, Rabbi, thank you so much. I stay where I am. Okay. I go to a tailor store, to a men's store. It was freezing cold in Israel. I came like this. Suit, tie, hat, shirts, easy. I travel light.
Miami style.
No, elegant style, Miami. I said, I'm not going to be Shabbat. I bring a suit for the wedding, a suit to work for 2 days, and I'm flying back. Freezing cold. The last day, raining non-stop. And Yerushalayim is colder than other places. I had no raincoat, but that was for the last day, not a big deal. I was in the car anyways. But I was freezing cold, walking to the hotel, going to shul, going to here, I said, I need to buy a sweater. Every store I go, sir, we don't sell sweaters. It's Pesach. We only sell now summer. He said, but I need a sweater. And they tell me, you don't have a sweater? I said, no, I don't have a sweater. He said, okay, go next to the hotel. There is a men's suit store. Maybe they have sweaters. I go in. The lady starts saying, I need a sweater, the same spiel. How come you don't have a sweater? I said, I come from Miami. In Miami, I don't wear sweaters. What, 2 days a year? I wear more sweater when I go to New York than all year long in Miami. He said, oh, you from Miami? I said, yeah. Please, I need you to speak to my children. Why? Because my children believe that money grows in the palm trees of Miami. And every week they're driving us crazy. We need to go to Miami, to move to Miami, to move to Miami. I said, listen, I'm here for 2.5 days. I don't have a time now to make an appointment to meet with your children. So he says, nobody asked you to meet with my children. You know, Israelis, they answer you back. Say, okay, so how am I going to meet them? I'm going to videotape you. Which, by the way, it happened in JFK. I'm going to tell you in a minute what happened by costumes. By costumes. Somebody took a picture of me in costumes. I'll tell you the story in a minute after I finish. So I videotape. They put the phone in front of me, heke, okay? And I tell them to think twice. Miami is beautiful, but it's not automatic that you come without papers, without the language, without the financial cushion, and people are going to be waiting for you. Come, we're going to make you a millionaire. Okay, no. You got to go through the channels. Think, what are you going to do? Come with some financial cushion. The parents love me. The parents almost invited me to spend Pesach with them in their house. I said, no, I got to go back. But the message has been delivered. And if for some reasons your children come to Florida, tell them to look for the Edmond J. Safra Synagogue, and everybody will tell you where to find me. Fast forward.
You got the sweater?
I bought the sweater and I bought a scarf.
Beige.
No, dark gray.
Oh, great.
Yeah, match my suit. I had a black suit for the wedding, plus a dark blue for the weekday. So dark gray, it was nice. Dandy with vest. No, no beige, no beige. I don't wear beige. I don't wear beige. Anyways, I'm in JFK. Suddenly, I see a fellow from the angle of my eye. Remember, it's 5:30 in the morning. We flew out all night. I'm half asleep. I see a guy looking at me. He's putting the cell phone, you know, like this. Sometimes people, they making you believe they're holding the cell phone and they actually are videotaping you. I saw that. But I said, okay. Then my son sends me a picture at 5:45 in the morning. And he says, paparazzi are haunting you. So then I asked him, where you got this picture from? That's exactly what I'm wearing. He says, somebody saw you from far and took a picture. So my suspicions were correct. I know who the person took the pictures. Nice guy, somebody that I know for many, many years. But I asked, why don't you come say shalom? We take a picture together. What a paparazzi, you know, you're taking it, you're going to sell the picture elsewhere. But Baruch Hashem, thank God it wasn't something to be worried and to be concerned of. So I'm going to switch the topic now. And I'd like to speak about, and there are many more things to discuss about Pesach, which we are going to catch up by Be'ezrat Hashem in the next 48 hours in the morning class, about the two great Tzadikim of today's day, Rabbeinu Moshe Bar Nachman, also known as the Nachmanides. He was a contemporary of the Maimonides. Now, there are discussion of where the Nachmanides is buried. So I saw with my own eyes, and someone went there today to confirm this in Me'arat HaMachpelah. Wow. When you come to Me'arat HaMachpelah, before you go to the building, to the right side, you know the famous picture of Me'arat HaMachpelah? To the bottom, and I wish I have the access to my phone. You have it, open it for me, please. Thank you. And then I'll tell you what it is. There is a stone that says, according to our tradition, on the 7 steps is the kever of the Ramban. And next to it is a huge, bigger than the Kaddish, huge, a full wall size of the letter of the Ramban. The famous letter, Igeret Ramban, which you can find it in the Hotle Israel, that says, Shema Beni Musar Avicha, right here, the letter that the Ramban sent to his son. Let me see if I'm able to see one. That's it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. Obviously, this is a group picture. This is a group picture. Okay? Here, in this size, in this part of the wall, this is before you go into Me'arat HaMachpelah. As soon as you pass the security, you see the Igeret, the letter of the Nachmanides, and you see exactly the tombstone that I'm referring to. So the Ramban was, thank you, Aiki, the Ramban was a Rishon. He lived in the 1100s. He is the famous one who had a debate with the Pope, the dissertation of Barcelona, when Judaism was being threatened, and he was threatened to convert to Catholicism, and this debate was the answer, and he won the debate on behalf of the Jewish people. The Ramban also believed that living in Israel even today is a mitzvah from the Torah. That's why he moved to Israel, where he passed away in Israel. He wrote the letter to his son. So the Ramban writes a couple of ideas which are mandatory for everyday life, but especially in the night of Pesach. What does he say? He says, train yourself to speak every time benahat, calmado, kind, soft, etc. to every person in every situation. Not easy. And through this you will spare yourself from anger, which is the worst enemy of the person. And when you control your anger, will flourish on your heart the midah of humility, which is the best attribute that a person can have. If there is a day in your life that you should read this letter, which is available in Hebrew in the Chok Israel, or available in English online, the letter of the Nachmanides, also known as the letter for the ages, because this letter doesn't go out of fashion. Humans are humans. Interaction with humans is eternal. Anger is alive regretfully, and humility needs reinforcement. But at the end of the many messages that he gives, he says, read this letter once a week and no less, and try to do whatever you can in order to be successful. And it says every day that you will read it, the heavens will answer your request according to the wishes of your heart. This is an unbelievable deal. So take advantage later, or we can read it together after I finish the recording. It's in the beginning of the Chok Israel. We got plenty of books to read it together. Fast forward. The Shalach HaKadosh, Rabbeinu Shmuel HaLevi. He wrote the Sefer Shene Luchot HaBerit, commentaries on the Torah, commentaries on the Talmud, similar like the Nachmanides. Nachmanides wrote magnificent explanations on the Chumash, on the Nevi'im, I believe as well, on the Gemara, mandatory learning in Talmudic learning in the Kolelim and Yeshivot, and the Shalach HaKadosh the same. The Shalach HaKadosh lived after the Inquisition of Spain, the mid-1500s. Okay? He was the first chief rabbi of Jerusalem. He was born in Europe and eventually located to Jerusalem in Eretz Israel. But he's buried where? He's buried in Tiberias, next to the kever of the Maimonides. If you want to go, let me know. I'll take you. Okay? And I'll show you. You go to the main Bet HaKevarot in Tiberias, the beautiful one in the middle of town. You see the Maimonides, you see his father. But before you reach Maimonides, to the left, you have the kever of the Shalach HaKadosh, and you have the kever of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai from the Mishnah, and a couple of Talmudic sages. The Ramban, Mehila, the Shalach wrote two powerful prayers. One prayer that was recited Erev Rosh Chodesh Nisan, a prayer for Parnasah, and the next prayer will be read Erev Rosh Chodesh Sivan, which is a prayer to be successful in the raising of your children. So says the Shalach HaKadosh in the explanation to the tractate of Pesach, Gemara Pesachim. He says, in the night of the Seder, the person should be meticulous of not engaging in conversation which is not relevant to the sanctity of the Seder of Pesach. The Zohar HaKadosh writes in this, that in the night of Pesach, God Bichvodo be'asmo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with his entourage of angels, travels through the world and pays a visit to the homes that are holding a seder in Pesach, or where families are together. And therefore says Yeshala HaKadosh, that because the night of Pesach is the night that God's presence is manifested in your Pesach table, to make sure not to speak about topics which are not conducive to the holiness of the night. Like on Shabbat, the way on Shabbat we don't speak on the table or outside of the table about sports, business, investments, planning, etc. In the night of Pesach is the same. It's not less. It's actually very, very holy, the night of Pesach. Let's go back to the Nachmanides. The Nachmanides said about anger. The Ben Ish Hai writes, in the laws of Pesach and in the laws specifically of Rosh Hashanah, and it says, when a person comes home from the synagogue, come home with a pleasant attitude, with a positive attitude, and don't allow anger or disappointment even to pay you a visit in your heart. Let's say you came home from the knis and you thought that the table was going to be set up, and not everything is 100%. It says, don't say a word. Bite your tongue and remove that thought, because the Yetzer Hara, it's looking to ignite the fire of Mahloket in the night of Pesach. And what the Ben Ish Hai writes, Ki kadosh hayom la'adonenu. This is a holy day that, like in the night of Rosh Hashanah, we deal with Hashem in the aspect of judgment. In the night of Pesach, there is also judgment. You need to know this. In the night of Pesach, the judgment is about Parnasah. Tomorrow I'll explain what's the relationship between Matsah and Parnasah. It's all connected. Stay tuned, and to be continued by Zet Hashem tomorrow. Yehi Ratzon, that the words of Torah elevate the neshamot that we mentioned before, Clement Menachem ben Leah, and as well as Yitzhak Kababie ben Victoria, and read the letter of the Ramban. We can read it together if you like.
There's a pamphlet there.
Okay, there is a pamphlet.
Yes.
You know what? Get pamphlets and give it to everybody, and maybe available in English as well. And but the idea is not only the benefit at the end. Oh, you know what? The Nachmanides said that the day that I'm going to read it, I'm going to be able, thank you, I'm going to be able to ask for things. Go ahead, ask for things, but also try to apply the eternal lessons. So you have this available in English. You can take it, put it in your koracha, read it as often as you can, and Be'ezat Hashem, we wish everyone to be Tizkul Shanim Rabot. I'm so happy to be back, and thank you so much for the warm welcome, and Be'ezat Hashem, we'll continue tomorrow. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen.